So this morning I raced in Fort Lauderdale at the Las Olas Triathlon, and I competed in the Sprint Duathlon. And of all the races for Sprint Triathlon, Duathlon, this may have been the shortest distance race. Fort DeSoto usually has the shortest one, with the bike just being under 10 miles. This one was actually 9 for the bike. The first run was only 0.6 miles, and then the final run was a 5K, the traditional 5K for a sprint. So it was a 0.6 run, 9-mile bike, and a 5K at the end. So very quick, every second usually counts in a sprint. So I'll just share my experience from this morning and leading into. So it was Fort Lauderdale. It took me about 5 hours to get down there yesterday. I left late morning and stopped to get some lunch on the way, and actually got some supplies from Publix just to hold me over for both the drive down and drive back. So it took a little longer, and honestly, by the end of the day yesterday, I didn't feel good. I actually thought I was getting sick into the early evening, and went to bed really early. It was probably one of the best sleeps I've had before a race. Just I didn't feel good. I thought I was actually getting sick. So not knowing what this morning was going to be like. But I ate really well yesterday. In Fort Lauderdale and in the Boca area, one of my favorite places to eat at is called Raw Juice. So yesterday, mid-afternoon, I had a salad there, and then I went back for my traditional pre-race dinner for Sprinter Olympic with an acai bowl, and it was fantastic. So if I was getting sick, I had a lot of antioxidants going right back in me to fuel me, to get me ready for this morning. Woke up and I actually felt good. Or I didn't, of course, waking up. You feel like you do when you wake up, but I didn't feel sick. So that was great, just waking up to that. We got to the race site, was getting ready. And first run, I felt ready. Didn't feel sick, had a good warm up. Legs probably weren't, I was hoping I'd be a little fresher, but I was pretty good. I mean, for the big training blocks I'm putting in right now, I was hoping this week I'd be just a little fresher, just to really simulate how I'll feel for nationals in June. But it was good. I felt good, not great, but felt pretty good going into the race. So my first run, 0.6 miles, out and back, 0.3 out, 0.3 back. There was a gentleman who is on Team USA in the 35-39 age group, just took off, young legs, and he was gone, and I was behind him. And then I had Sergio Myers, great guy, right behind me, and then another gentleman behind him that ended up competing really well. That first run, it felt really good. I had a really good pace, surpassed my goal pace for that first 0.6, but still, for what my goal was, my pace was really good. I worked for it, but I felt really good about it, feel good about it right now. Hit a really good pace. It was in the 5s, so that's pretty good for me. So pleased with that. Hopped on the bike. I was probably a good 20 seconds down, at least, from the guy who was in the lead. And I caught him at 3 1/4 on the bike, and he stuck with me. Once I passed him, I was hoping I would create a gap, knowing what he did on the first run, and that just didn't happen. And it wasn't from a lack of my output. It was both of us were crushing the bike. The bike was great. From a power perspective, I was slightly better than I was 3 weeks ago in Cocoa Beach. So that was a good win. And looking at the results after, I had the second best bike of the entire field, including triathlon, aqua bike, and it was good. I had good wattage. My goal, for the watts, I I still need to get better for nationals, but big picture, I got better, and it was a great time. And the guy was right behind me coming in, which was, I didn't know how close he was. I knew he was somewhat close based on where he was on the U-turn, but it was I felt really good about the bike. Hopped off the bike, got in transition, hopped out on the run, and boy, it wasn't maybe a third of a mile into the first mile of the 3.1 mile final run. He caught me, and he was gone. The young legs just can't compete with 37-year-old legs. But we were going into a headwind for the final run, pretty good, and so my pace was above where I was targeting. And honestly, at the end of that first mile, even knowing that there was a headwind, it felt more of a crosswind, but it was a headwind. I was not feeling so great about that second run at that point. And honestly, at some point, I was thinking, I am getting older, and maybe this is just how I gotta settle in with, this is how my pace is gonna be. And it wasn't far off from what I'm capable of, or I was capable of, but it was a little slower, but still going into that headwind. Mile 2, I started to cut into that pace, cutting faster. I was getting faster, slightly. And then when we made the U-turn at 1.5 coming back, or 1.55 coming back, I had the same effort, but now with the tailwind, I was cutting into the pace. So the pace at the end of mile 2 was 11 seconds faster than the first mile. So I was extremely happy with that. That gave me a little jolt of confidence that I had that capability. And then mile 3, I cut off another, I gotta look exactly, but maybe another 14 seconds off the pace. And I was pretty fast for mile 3. So happy with that effort and that final mile for the 5K run. So I got better each mile, and that was time-wise my best 5K I've had in a while. And 9-mile bike, so I had something to do with it. I didn't have my legs crushed like in a traditional sprint, maybe if it was 12 miles or so, or an Olympic distance where I had made the 10K on the front end and have the 5K in the back, where you're just beat up a lot more. But for sprint, my final pace was extremely good for me and where I am, in my training and my age and so forth. So I was really happy. So end result, I was happy with all 3 disciplines. First one, really good. Bike, really good. Final run, really good. I got better from each of the first 2 races. Finished second overall to a 37-year-old Team USA, teammate. And he beat me on both runs. I had a better bike, and it's fantastic. It's just pushing each other. It was awesome. Sergio, good friend, he finished 4th. We had another gentleman who was 40, who was pushing the pace as well, came in 3rd. And great friend Bob Brown also raced and had a great race too. Was right behind them. So it was a great morning, great weekend. Pushed the hell out of each other, got better, and just gotta get better. Oddly enough, I still think I have opportunity on the bike. My run is about as good as it's gonna get, and I pushed the hell out of my run. So just marginal maybe, but the bike, I still have opportunity, even with the good day that I had. So great time in Fort Lauderdale, and heading back to Tampa to continue training and get better.